Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show presents the NXT Ring Report. We get to all what's going on. NXT after Stand and Deliver in WrestleMania week. Coming up, we talk about this. Pat McAfee had an interview with The Rock, the great one. What went down with Pat McAfee and The Rock? We'll talk about that interview coming up. Also, too, Bayley was in action as well. Well, Bayley did an interview as well on Wrestling Hot Topics. Chris Van Vliet. It feels like she's unwanted in the league. What's going on with Bayley? And we get to the latest on what's going on. The NXT after WrestleMania starts right now here on the NXT Report. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of Pro Wrestling Show. I'm your host, as always, Kendrick Deeks here. Glad you can join us here on the NXT Ring Report. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. Don't forget to subscribe. Here on the Pro Wrestling Live edition of the Pro Wrestling Show on your search using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe is caring. Tell a friend, call a friend, hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. All right, let's get to this right here. As you see right here, Noam Dar returned back to NXT. Noam Dar back. Noam Dar wins his first, returns back to NXT, takes down what's his name? Lexis King. Lexis King thought he had in a bad. Lexis King thought he was really gonna do something. Lexis King really didn't know what was going down. So Noam Dar finally returned and shut Lexis King up. Lexis King wanted to have a match against Ricky Starks. I mean, Ricky Sam meant to say that match just didn't pan out. Lexis King lost his North America, his Heritage Cup back to Noam Dar. Noam Dar back as the Heritage Cup champion. So congratulations to Noam Dar on his victory. Also, too, the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, who recently regained their Tag Team Championships 24 hours ago on Raw over Becky Lynch and Lyra, who's in a feud. The Women's Tag Team Champions defending against Taylor Paxley and forgot their name, Taylor Paxley and Gigi Dolan. The Women's Tag Team Champions came out of nowhere and won their match at the victors in this and stuff. The Women's Tag Team Champions being able to put their issues aside and did so tonight and did so well. Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan are that they are the reigning tag team champions. Did so tonight with their fourth title reign started yesterday, retaining a successful title defense. Congratulations to them. That so we see. Also, too, we saw this right here. We saw Noam Dar return. We saw Trick was dead. Speaking of that, Tia Hill was in action. Tia Hill coming back. She's a grown, woman. Tia Hill won her match tonight. Tia Hill in the victory as well. We talked about speaking of the tag team champions. Women's tag team champions ran into Sora Roca and Zarya after the women's tag team champions had dogged them both out, saying that both were just doing the same thing against the Becky Lynch Lyra Carrier situation. However, that went down. Leah was talking about that eventually Sora or Zarya gonna turn on each other, and they ain't gonna really be no tandem. Laugh later. Zarya and Sora Roga put that to rest, saying they'll go for the tag team championships too one day, and they'll show the women's tag team champions what they're all about. So we could see that being a possibility down the road. But we saw this face-off right here between TNA Champion Joe Henry, who made a rare appearance at WrestleMania going against Randy Orton. He lost in his losing effort to Orton, but he got the nose and the attention of the NXT champion Obi Femi. Obi Femi trying to fight off Trick Williams. Trick Williams feel like he wants another shot, another crack at the championship. But Joe Henry interrupted Trick and led Trick to certain things that Trick thought that wasn't going to be played at his expense. Um, Joe Henry said that Trick Williams has changed. He's a different man. I think Trick Williams can turn heel. And I think Trick Williams might go for the TNA Championship next as an NXT star. We don't know when we might see an encounter between Joe Henry and Obi Femi for the champ for a title. We just don't know what title, but Trick Williams caught in the middle. Trick Williams getting taken out by both Joe Henry and Obi Femi, who left Trick laying. Trick Williams didn't see it coming. Trick Williams on his feet, getting taken out by both world champions of their respective brands, the TNA and the NXT champion. We looked at Trick Williams. Trick Williams looking for some gold, but hopefully Trick will get some gold sooner rather than later. But we told you on the NXT Stand Deliver review that Renzo wanted to know from Stacks why he did what he did to turn on Tony D'Angelo, and he went in the middle of the desert to try to figure out to get the answer. Stacks still not telling why he did what he did, but eventually we'll have to find out and see what's going on with that eventually. Well, speaking of that, Tony D'Angelo saying he wants to ask for forgiveness before he about to do what he needs to do to Stacks. That's going to be playing out eventually on how that's going to be far. Also, too, we saw Dark State was in action. They went against Javon Evans. I forgot that dude looks like Randy Orton's son. Dark State won their match tonight over Javon Evans. Javon Evans is going to really have a tough task for Brady ahead for him coming up. Also, too, Josh Briggs and his partner will get a future tag team championship match next week. They'll go against new tag team champions Hank and Wedger for the tag team championships that Ava had promised. We looked at this right here. Chase, you might be back in business as you see Andrew Chase trying to wear his uniform again. Andrew Chase wearing his uniform in nearly a couple of months. Now puts it back on and now wants to get some measure of revenge. I can tell you that right now. Andrew Chase with Chase University coming back as well. So, hey, let's see. Yeah, we know that Thea Hale is an alumni. She won her match tonight. We talked about that earlier in the show. Well, speaking of women's action and stuff, we saw Stephanie Victoria defeat Roxanne Perez to retain her NXT Women's Championship. But look across the crowd. Jordan Grace getting a bird's eye view. She wants to be next in line for a shot at the Women's Championship, as well as Julia as well. Julia wants a shot at the championship too. So a lot of women wants to be NXT Women's Champion, but Stephanie Victoria is the one that's holding the goal for her instance and stuff. So we'll see Stephanie Victoria will do so in that matter. But like we said, that ends the NXT Ring Report. Let's move on to Wrestling Hot Topics. On Wrestling Hot Topics, we talk about this. The final boss, the great one, The Rock, appeared on the Pat McAfee show to ask how Pat was doing with his brutal attack from Gunther. Gunther felt frustrated and upset about losing the world championship and took his frustrations out on the Raw commentary team on Michael Cole and Pat McAfee. Like we said, you can go to the Raw Ring Report if you want to get more details about that. It's all on the Raw Ring Report. But The Rock appeared on the Pat McAfee show to address the elephant in the room, that what was going on, why he wasn't at WrestleMania, why he did not appear at WrestleMania. Pat McAfee wanted to get the answers and stuff, and Pat McAfee needed to know what was going on, and I think The Rock elaborated to why he did what he did, and The Rock, the great one, made it clear that he wanted to be the one to say, hey, this ain't working. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you how I'm gonna fix it and stuff like that. So I think The Rock wanted to elaborate even more on what was going on about that situation. I think Rocky kind of put into terms why he did what he did. I think that's what The Rock wanted to point out and leave out, but he did. He talked about he didn't want to be a part of. He didn't want to take away from that and let them figure out what they wanted to do. At the end of the day, The Rock kind of was trying to be like a CEO, a businessman, but Rock could clean up that mess that what went down and stuff. And I think The Rock kind of pointed out that hey, I can't clean no bird mess and I can't clean no bird doo doo on how all this is going to plan out and stuff. I just wants to figure out and sense it for myself, but it just wasn't the case. It didn't go in my terms, so don't know what the tension is and how the tension is going to lie between The Rock and you know who. So The Rock, Pat McAfee. We'll see how they all this going to play out eventually. But quite interesting to see and know how that's going to go between The Rock and Pat McAfee and stuff. I think this was The Rock was talking about. They said Rock really exposed everything. There was no long term plan. There was no 20 steps ahead. There was no plans of him showing up or being involved in the role of WrestleMania. Selling his soul just meant nothing at the end of the day. This could have been done without him. This was just done on the fly due to slow ticket sales on the Elimination Chamber. So The Rock did allude to that, and The Rock kind of made mention of that. What went down? So we saw how all this was going to go and how all this was going to be planned. So it kind of made sense on that what The Rock was talking about. But like I said, wrestling is a business. We know it's predetermined, like they like to say. However, I guess you got to sell it to make it seem like it's a legit business. So I guess people are kind of upset and angry. The Rock cares. No, so hey, it is what it is. But that leads us to this right here. WWE's going to be doing a Netflix show called WWE Unreal, where they take you behind the scenes, where you can watch like the matches and stuff, and not the matches, but get a bird's eye view of the writers' room and how the writers think and all that. I'm kind of intrigued about the show. I hope it just don't expose the business, but a lot of people think it's gonna expose the business way too much. But we will wait and see how all this is gonna play out eventually. Well, Bailey appeared on the Chris Van Vliet show. Bailey talked about her mental health and her status. Many people are concerned that Bailey's not being pushed the way she should be pushed. She had a moment at WrestleMania last year, but Bailey feels like she's not up there with Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. So Bailey wants to be up there. Want to listen to the interview. I've been listening to it midway, but I want to listen to it more so I can get Bailey's perspective on what's going on. And people say she might consider jumping to AEW and joining friend Mercedes. You never know. Speaking of that, before we go, right here, the we see Money in the Bank will be coming to LA. If we can show it right quick. Money in the Bank coming to Los Angeles, the great Los Angeles area. Money in the Bank. On the show. Well, it's coming to LA. We know that Money in the Bank coming to LA area. Just don't want to show it. Uh, well, just don't want to show it. Hey, it is what it is. Well, we're gonna leave you here. We were supposed to talk about Money in the Bank, but we're gonna leave you with Stephanie Vicure and trying to get a lot of channels. Well, we having a little technical issues and stuff. Well, we'll just leave it like this. Thank you for watching the Pro Wrestling Show. I've been your host, Kendrick Dixon, and so long.